and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is India, but you can call me BME Queen. I am a travel girly. Today I'm going to be giving you guys tips on how to plan an inexpensive international vacation. If you don't already know, I am a solo traveler, a solo international traveler. I have been to so many different destinations and I have planned all of those trips by myself. So today I'm going to be giving you all the tips on how I'm able to plan such an inexpensive trip and how I'm able to keep it pretty low cost and pretty inexpensive without having to sacrifice parts of the trip. Let me get my pillow and my list. First and foremost, let Google Flights choose your destination. So I have purchased almost all of my flights through first finding them on Google Flights. What you can do is you type in your home airport and then you type in anywhere in destination. And you can also click flexible dates if that's available to you. Figure out what destination is the cheapest to go to. This strategy has led me to popular places like London, Barcelona, France, but it's also led me to a little bit unpopular places like Charleston and Phoenix, or some places that I usually wouldn't pick to go to. The reason why I use this strategy is because you can sort the flights by the cheapest. You can also sort it by the time frame. You can select if you want to go for a weekend, for a week, for a month. You can also select which months you want the trip to be in, and Google Flights will give you all of the options that are available on this huge map, and you can literally pick which ones you want to go to and which ones you want to see. If you have a little bit more of a budget and you want to be able to do non-stop flights or flights with less layovers, there's also a filter for that as well. But this is how I'm able to travel so often, because I choose a very inexpensive flight on an airline that I trust, as well as choosing the flight that either has one stop or a non-stop flight. This has been able to get me different places at different times a year. Because I'm a full-time creator, I now have the availability to schedule a flight whenever. But when I was working full-time, I still did use this strategy, and I was able to overlap it with my time off for holidays or any other time off that I had, and it was a really cheap way for me to travel. So I also recommend this because a lot of people have in their mind where they want to go and what time of year they want to go, but that typically is the most expensive time to go. For example, if you want to go to Italy, the popular time to go to Italy would be during the summer months. However, there are certain dates and certain times of year where Italy still has great weather, it has great destinations and great places for you to visit, but the flights are significantly cheaper. So typically be in May or September after that peak season. If you have a destination in mind, keep it in your mind, but be open to other destinations and open to other time frames that you can go to that destination. My second tip here for planning an inexpensive international trip is to stay at unique accommodations. Everyone wants to stay at the Four Seasons, everyone wants to stay at these super luxury hotels. However, you can get more bang for your buck at a bed and breakfast or at a family-owned hotel. You don't have to stay in hostels, you don't have to stay with a bunch of strangers, you can still have your private room, you can still have your balcony, you can still have a really great view, but you can stay in a unique hotel and something that's not as mainstream or on Instagram that will get you bang for your buck. I have done this in Greece, where I stayed at a family-owned hotel that was off the beach in Mykonos. Unlike most Mykonos trips, a lot of people don't stay at the beach, they typically stay in town. I stayed a little bit outside of town, and when I wanted to go in town, I would take the bus into the city. At that accommodation, I got a free upgrade. I had a ocean view facing room with a balcony, with seating, and it cost me $600 for the week. I also went during off-peak season, which was in early September, and I was able to get so much bang for my buck from staying at that style accommodation. I was also given breakfast every single day, and I had access to a lot of discounted rates for different services like getting a massage or visiting certain tourist locations. So staying at that bed and breakfast allowed me to have a very different, unique experience that you typically don't see on Instagram or on other social media platforms. I cannot stress this enough. Try to stay somewhere unique where you can get the most for your money. Next tip here for planning an inexpensive international trip is to figure out what type of food you want to eat. Now, this can go a bunch of different ways, but a lot of people will go to the nearest restaurant to eat, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or whatever they want to eat. And typically that is a very expensive place to eat. If you're on vacation and you want to splurge, by all means, go for it. I do it all the time. However, for the most part, I either stay at a hotel that has breakfast that's already included, and when I'm going to eat out, I go to a family-owned or small business that's within the area, but a little bit of a walking distance away. As an example, when I went to Vatican City, there were a ton of restaurants right outside the entrance of Vatican City where you could eat. However, I walked about another 3 blocks and I found a small family-owned pasta restaurant where they made the pasta for you fresh right in person, and I got a full meal for only €6. To get that same meal at a restaurant that was closer to Vatican City, I would have paid more of like €25. If you walk about 3, 4, 5 blocks away from that popular tourist location, you can find some pretty inexpensive food, and also food that is locally made, locally owned, and it tastes incredible. Because you have to eat every single day, food costs will add up, so I highly recommend this tip to go find cheap food at family-owned or small businesses where you can get a true taste of the culture and what it's like to eat there. Next tip for traveling internationally, and y'all probably aren't gonna like this one, but I'm gonna tell you anyway, and that is to not pay for baggage. So many people pay for baggage, get it lost, have all these things happen, and it ends up throwing off the vibes of the trip, but also it costs money. I typically pack a carry-on for all of my trips. The longest time that I've been on a trip with just a carry-on has been 4 weeks. So an entire month of just wearing clothes that I packed in my carry-on for one trip. The way I do this is by using packing cubes or vacuum seal bags, depending on the trip, and I will pack clothes that I can mix and match with other items. I don't pack any outfits that are a set, and I don't pack any items that won't match with multiple pieces that I've already packed. It makes it so much easier to mix and match outfits, so I can still have a new outfit every day. However, it's not going to take up a ton of space in my luggage. I cannot recommend this enough. Stop paying all those baggage fees and just bring a carry-on. You can also pack different laundry pods to do laundry while you're away if you're comfortable with doing that. A lot of fees go into luggage itself, and people don't realize that you can save that money and go actually splurge on a really nice meal. Don't worry about packing a huge suitcase. If you want to see how I packed for my 2-week ski trip in Europe, that video is already on YouTube, so you can go check that one out. But stop paying for luggage. Last tip here, and I've touched on this a little bit before, but it is to try to travel off season or off peak. I gave an example earlier. If you want to go to Italy, the most popular times to go to Italy is during the summer. However, you can still go in May and September and have really great weather and also have a really great experience, but at a much cheaper price. Depending on the destination, you can go different times of year, so it doesn't necessarily all have to be jam-packed into one single summer. But you can go to other destinations throughout the year where it's inexpensive to go, but also it'll be a really great trip. An example of this is a lot of people like to go to Japan to see the Cherry Blossom Festival in the springtime. Because of that, it is a super expensive time to visit Japan. Instead of doing that, you can find another time of the year where it's still great to visit Japan without having to spend a ton of money. Another example would be going skiing right at the start of the ski season. that is typically a very expensive time to go skiing. So if you can help it, you plan your trip a little bit later at a peak time of ski season to go skiing. Those are my top 5 tips for planning an inexpensive international trip. So if you want to see more, let me know in the comments. If you liked any of these tips, let me know in the comments again, and I will see you guys in the next video.